We've been talking about discernment and how to develop it. Last time, we saw how central Bible intake is to that process. Today, we're looking at a second essential ingredient. I'm Quito Espiritu, and this is 5 minutes on discernment and prayer. To develop discernment, we not only need to know and apply the Bible, we also need to do it prayerfully. A discerning person will always be a prayerful person. I want to take you to Psalm 119, which I think is the best passage for showing the relationship between God's Word and prayer. We're going to see 6 reasons why discernment requires prayer. First, we need God's help to understand His Word. Verse 27 says, "Make me understand the way of your precepts, and I will meditate on your wondrous works." Verse 169 says, "Let my cry come before you, O Lord. Give me understanding according to your word." Some parts of the Bible are easier to understand than others, and God's truth is such that a child can understand its basic message, but even the greatest minds can't exhaust its depths. So we need to ask for God's guidance in understanding His Word more. Second, we need God's help to be captivated by His Word. Verse 18 says, "Open my eyes, that I may behold wondrous things out of your law." Verse 135 says, "Make your face shine upon your servant, and teach me your statutes." Even as born-again believers, we're not always inclined to listen to God. We can be distracted. We can undervalue His Word. And so we need God to steer our hearts back to Him. The third point is closely related to the second. We need God to remove internal obstacles. Look at verse 32. "I will run in the way of your commandments when you enlarge my heart." And verse 36 says, "Incline my heart to your testimonies and not to selfish gain." Verse 112 says, "I incline my heart to perform your statutes forever to the end." A fourth reason that prayer is necessary for discernment is that we need God's help to apply what we know. Verse 5 says, "Oh, that my ways may be steadfast in keeping your statutes." And verse 29 says, "Put false ways far from me, and graciously teach me your law." Fifth, we need God to lead us to an environment that encourages discernment. This includes timely provisions. Verse 17 says, "Deal bountifully with your servant, that I may live and keep your word." Verse 28 says, "My soul melts away for sorrow. Strengthen me according to your word." This also includes vindication. Verses 41 to 42 says, "Let your steadfast love come to me, O Lord, your salvation according to your promise. Then I shall have an answer to him who taunts me, for I trust in your word." It also includes friends and counselors who encourage us to be discerning. Verse 63 says, "I am a companion of all who fear you, of those who keep your precepts." Verse 74 likewise says, "Those who fear you shall see me and rejoice, because I have hoped in your word." Now, these aren't actually petitions, but they imply that the believer needs friends who are walking the same path as he is. The sixth and final reason that prayer is necessary for discernment is because we need God to strengthen our faith. Look at verse 66, which says, "Teach me good judgment and knowledge, for I believe in your commandments." Verse 76 says, "Let your steadfast love comfort me, according to your promise to your servant." Sometimes practicing discernment can be very costly for us. We won't always see the benefit immediately, and at such times, we need God's help to renew our trust and commitment. So there you have it, 6 reasons why discernment requires prayer. For the final installment on this series, we're going to look at the benefits of living with discernment but also the consequences of living without it. But for now, this was 5 minutes on discernment and prayer. I hope it's been helpful, and I'd love to hear your thoughts or questions in the comments below or by private message. God bless you.